Hey guys, it's Austin from Assuted Aroma. Here are 7 easy must-owns. I'm going to explain their smell, performance, and why you need them. Let's jump right into this review. First up, Prada L'Homme. Very clean, very fresh in the opening. There are some spicy pepper nuances. And then you really head into the powdery and lipsticky iris that this fragrance is known for. If you're hearing the lipsticky iris for the first time, it is what it sounds like, but it is still a masculine accord. And then into the base, this becomes an exclusively warm cedar fragrance. The one interesting part is that it blends with your sweat when you work out, and it just makes your sweat smell really good. I know it's odd, but it might be good to know. So the performance, every time I've worn this, I've gotten 8 to 10 hours, but moderate to light projection. The first couple hours, it pushes out 2 feet, but after this period, it does recede to about a 1 foot ambiance for the rest of the wear. Seasons and occasions, everything and anything, this is a great office and school wear. And seasons, just make sure you apply a bit heavier in the depths of the winter or just switch to a bit heavier of a fragrance. So why did Prada L'Homme make this list? It's an extremely classy and masculine fragrance for a decently affordable price. Next up, one of the most attractive fragrances for men, YSL La Nuit de l'Homme EDT, opens with fleeting citric bergamot nuances. They're fresh and grab your attention. Into the mid, it is all about the cardamom spice that is very alluring and what makes this fragrance this. Into the base, the cardamom is still pumping, and then there are some subtle woody base notes that give the fragrance depth for the rest of the wear. As for performance, 7-8 hours in the skin with intimate projection. This projection might be a bummer to some of you, but this is what makes this fragrance this. On a date, which this is best for, you want to be discovered and not announced. There is nothing worse than a fragrance that is too loud in an intimate situation. As for seasons, this is fall and winter, and YSL La Nuit de l'Homme EDT made this list because it is such an alluring fragrance, and I think every man should have this in his collection. Let's switch it up a bit here. Davidoff Coldwater EDT, very fresh. There is tons of lavender, and this is a very aromatic fragrance. There is an aquatic tone in the background, and then as the wear continues, it just gets more and more aromatic, always retaining that fresh nature, and this is pretty much all you get for the entire wear. On the skin, I only get 6 to 7 hours with light projection. The first 1 to 2 hours, it pushes out 2 feet, but after this period, it slowly becomes a skin scent. Not great, but this is an extremely affordable price, so you have to give it some credit. As for seasons and occasions, exclusively spring and summer, doesn't have the depth to push through those colder temperatures, and occasions all. This is extremely wearable and a great fragrance to have in your collection. This is the one reason that I do have it on this list, as it is an old school and an extremely popular fragrance for an affordable price. It's always worth having Davidoff Coldwater in your collection, even if you don't wear it that often. How could it be a must-own list without Dior Sauvage EDP? Fresh in the opening, subtle spices, and then a big Ambroxan dry down with some musky nuances. This is a very attractive and very alluring fragrance. Now the performance is just as good. I get 10 to 12 hours on the skin and sometimes till the next day if you're counting a skin scent. As for the projection, it'll fill a room for the first couple hours, and then it slowly recedes to the skin, but definitely never becomes a skin scent. I would say it keeps a 2 foot ambiance until it is done at about hour 10. As for seasons and occasions, this is all seasons. I know some guys will say, oh, don't wear it in 90-degree plus weather, but at that point, you probably want a lighter citrus fragrance anyways, and if you moderate your sprays, you should be good to go. And as for occasions, it's all. This is the Blue Beast that is gonna work for everything and anything. And this is the reason that I have it as a must own. It is the Blue Beast that works for everything and anything. Next up, the fragrance you would choose for the 90-degree weather. Acqua di Gio EDT, citruses, aromatics, and salty aquatics. In the opening, there are some fleeting citruses, but it is mostly about fresh aromatics. As we head into the mid, it is more and more about these fresh aromatics with some salty aquatic notes in the background. And then into the base, there's some musk nuances, but the overarching emphasis is these fresh aromatics that just keep this a very refreshing fragrance. The performance, 6 to 7 hours on the skin. It is not great, but it's what you'd expect from a fresh citrus and aromatic based fragrance. And as for projection, it is average. It'll push out up to an arm's length if you apply a 5 spray routine. And then it'll recede after a couple hours to about a 1 to 2 foot ambiance, but it never becomes a skin scent for the rest of the wear. Seasons and occasions, this is exclusively spring and summer. I know some guys do wear this in the fall and winter, and it does work, but to get your money's worth, I do recommend wearing it in the warmer weather. As for occasions, it's a subtle projector, and it's also quite sophisticated, so it'll stand out at formal occasions and on dates. It made this list because it is an excellent summer fragrance that is both decently affordable, popular, and smells excellent. Next up is Jerqua Noir EDT. This is a very masculine fragrance, but it's also very affordable. The opening smells apparently like 80s shaving cream. I'm not from the 80s, so I can't compare it to that era, but it does smell like shaving cream, very aromatic. There's lavender, and there is some leathery depth in the background. The rest of the wear is all about these fresh aromatics that retains the masculine nature. The performance, 6 to 7 hours on the skin with light projection, same as Davidoff Cool Water, pushes out for the first 1 to 2 hours, about 2 feet, but then it slowly recedes and does become a skin scent at the last hour of wear. As for seasons and occasions, this is almost everything. You do have to apply a little bit lighter in the summer, as this can get too intense just around you and potentially overwhelm those if you're in a close vicinity with a bunch of other people around you. Occasions, this is an easy office wear if you don't overspray. I made this list because it is an extremely affordable fragrance, but it's also very masculine. So if you don't want to spend too much money on an extremely affordable fragrance, say even Dior Sauvage that is $150, this is a great alternative that is still going to smell masculine. Last but not least, Dolce & Gabbana The One EDP. This starts off with a zingy and invigorating ginger. It grabs your attention and leads you into the beautiful blend of amber and tobacco. In the mid and base, both are very rich and warm and alluring. The performance is not that great, 6 to 7 hours on the skin, and it does have intimate projection, but like YSL La Nuit de l'Homme EDT, this will be discovered and not announced. It is great for date night, but it can be worn for all occasions, as it does have subtle projection that can stand out in all other situations, especially formal events. Seasons, exclusively fall and winter, this does have the depth of amber that is going to get too intense if you put too much heat on it. It made it on this list because it is an affordable fragrance, but also extremely alluring and high quality. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.